this is a very nice, huge truck stop. I like these, you know, non-pilots and non-TAs. Those are tiny quite often. I pass one Loves, I pass Flying J. This is Rush City, Minnesota. So finally I'm in the north, and of course the temperature, when I shut down it was -8 Celsius. Now, by the way, finally I figured out how to keep my American viewers on the same page. I just changed because I realized I always have Celsius here, and I have an app of course on my Verizon phone, and I just changed it to F. But they were not the same. Like this one was showing -25 Celsius, which is much colder than -19. So -12, I don't think it's -12. Maybe it is. Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me double check here. If we change back to Celsius, let's see, -24. But you see this, -24, -19. So basically, the phone says it's 5 degrees colder, but that's the real temperature from the outside. Whereas this is just internet, right? Like this has no thermometer by itself, right? But I think it's still it's useful. So I'm gonna keep the units on F, so that I can give you temperatures in American. So anyway, I have a whole day of driving ahead of me. So yesterday I drove after dark with lights. Lights were working even when I stopped here. I like those new lights, those big lights that I bought at Prince's Auto in where? In Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Those are much nicer than the ones the same type I bought at the Pilot ones. And same company, same brand, you know, made in China, but for some reason those just, you know, you put them on, and I think the problem is in these lights that when you put batteries in, you know, you have to open the rear cover and then you put the batteries in, right? And then you attach the cover and you flip it. And I think that's the problem. So if those batteries don't stay there, if they don't go very tight, they just, you know, from vibration they start going down, right? And you lose you know, contact. But these ones were extremely hard to put in. The batteries, I was wondering, like, man, I'm gonna break it, but because of that, it stays on, and they're so bright and, you know, very beautiful. And so yeah, yesterday I came in here, got fuel. It was a bit pricey, $3.60 something. I saw $3.49 on the way here, but I didn't want to stop somewhere and waste more time. And so I'm about, I don't know, 5 hours away. No, maybe 6 hours, like pretty much all day. I will need all day to get to the border because of all these detours. So I got fuel. I asked him where I can park. I said, is there an exit over there? The guy says no. And I said, guys, I'm sorry, I cannot back. Is there anywhere in this where I can park in a straight line? He says, well, wherever you can find, just, you know, as long as you don't block anybody. I cannot see anything. And so at first I tried another spot, and I saw that my booster was blocking. Somebody dropped.
Next left onto West 4th Street, then turn right onto the I-35 North Ramp.
You know, there were trailers parked like this, right? And so I thought I would pull in front of them on the side, but my rig is so long, so the rear was still blocking the trailers there. So if somebody comes during the night to hook up those trailers, they wouldn't be able to do that because of my truck. And then I see this spot right next to the pumps, and there's pavement in there, dry pavement, because the entire parking lot was covered in snow. And if you saw my previous videos, you know how my truck likes starting in the morning from the snow. And so you see now it started perfectly because I was pretty much parked on dry, like one axle of the truck was parked on dry pavement.
Turn right onto the I-35 North ramp. In 600 meters, merge onto I-35 North.
Now, of course, the fuel economy. What's fuel economy in this weather? So I'm gonna use my old trick. I'm not gonna shift into top gear until my transmission and my axles show temperature around 100. Well, this is the start of my detour. Highway 33. And right before I left I-35, the scale was open. I went through the scale, but they were busy. They were busy writing a ticket to a driving guy. I find that, you know, when they open these, this was like I think it was kind of like a temporary scale, which they open when they want to do inspections. And I come to this little scale, just one axle scale, and the sign says stop and then exit slowly. And there's a driver on the side, and the guy sits behind it in a SUV, and there's a couple of other SUVs parked nearby. So usually cops really like dry vans, you know, because they can check the load, they can see if there's anything, you know, sometimes people move something like a stolen property or something, you know. Flatbeds and RGN, usually they don't bother you unless you do something really stupid. And then another type of vehicles they like stopping is car carriers. You know, not with the brand new cars, but those that you see they have some used cars. I see quite often, like a guy would be stopped, there's a bunch of cops all around him in, you know, SUVs, because I think that's what happens sometimes. They move stolen cars or something. The sign on the right says Superior National Forest, and I'm gonna go right through it because this is US-53, and I have to take 169. And what's funny is that actually if I keep going this way another 100 miles, I can hit International Falls, Canada. You know, the Sault Ste. Marie there? And actually that's what the guy, when I talked to the guy from Minnesota DOT, you know, when I was asking him if that restriction is still there on MN-61, and I was complaining about...
In 600 meters, take the Minnesota 169 exit toward Ely.
I was complaining about this big detour, and he says, maybe you should have crossed into Canada at a different location instead of Thunder Bay. I think that's what he meant. But the problem is then you have to drive...
The Minnesota 169 exit.
You have to drive near the lake there. It's, you know, from Sault Ste. Marie to Thunder Bay, it's nuts.
Continue for 1 kilometer.
It's crazy. It's all a 2-lane highway. Of course, here it's gonna be probably 2-lane as well, but yeah, once I get on 61, at least that one is straight. I know that road. There's a couple of small truck stops in there. So basically this 169 is a shortcut because I have to get to Highway 1. And I could have stayed on 53 and it connects with 1, but it's like, you know, 90-degree angle, whereas here I'm going at 45 degrees towards northeast. But I'm a bit scared of that Highway 1, you know, like this 169 doesn't look too bad on the map. It looks pretty straight. Here we go. So it's not a divided highway, but it doesn't look like it snowed here recently, you know. But 1 on the map, it's like this. And it goes around, it comes back down to 61 after that construction site. So we're coming up to Highway 1 over there. You see the sign says half a mile. That's what I need. In 1 east. So basically this highway should just transition into 1 east. Let's see what it looks like. Usually the lower the number, the better is the highway. So I was on 169, it was not too bad, but now we should be on 1. Yeah, so you see, there's now we have 2 highways, 169 north and 1 east. And then I think eventually they're gonna separate, because 169 probably goes like this, northeast. I think this should be the worst part of this detour, but I may be mistaken. But there was a lots of, you know, curves and ups and downs on this 169, so it didn't become any better when it merged with 1. But now, in 3 clicks, we're turning sharply south. And I think that's where they finally separate. So 169, basically, if you look to my left, like that way, yeah, like that way, so northeast, Canada is maybe 20 miles away. There's a big river there, and the same river that you cross in International Falls there. But it's all forest. It's all forest. There's no hardly any roads there. You know, it's all like lumber trails. And my border crossing has already been set up for Thunder Bay, right? So I don't want to go because it's too far to get back to Thunder Bay. Okay, so this is Eli. nice little northern Minnesota town. I like that kind of. Oh, that's an insurance office. Okay. And this guy with boats passed me like an hour ago, and now he's parked here. Like, where do you take boats in January? I guess he's moving to Florida, just in a kind of like a roundabout way. Nice little road, you know. Our dart method in action again. So what do we send this guy? Oh, let's send him on this northern route with 2 million hills and 5 million turns. Nice looking church. What is that? Is that a church or? But you can see how much snow is in here, man. The side roads are packed. And of course, a northern town, you must have a liquor store. So we have a Mike's Liquors. Little girl looking at my truck, smiling. I like when kids, you know, pay attention. It reminds me how I was a kid, you know, and I always wanted to be in transportation. Right? I mentioned this before. I always wanted to be either a pilot or a trucker or a railroad engineer. Okay, where are we turning? 950 meters. We're turning on I like these, you know, these houses out of timber. Oh, diesel 324. No, that's gas. That's gas. Okay, 600 meters. Okay, we don't want to hit the miss the postman here. The USPS hard at work, sitting on the shoulder. Lunch break. Oh, check this out. They even have this cute little houses.
Meters, turn right onto South 17th Avenue.
That's espresso coffee. You just go there. I think it's this one. Yeah, it says to Isabella 261 1.
Take the second right onto South 17th Avenue East.
So yeah, 169 continues straight. Finally, I'm turning right or south.
Continue for 88 kilometers.
And I think 88 kilometers, that's what